This meeting is being recorded for our public records and will be posted on the Arlington County Commission's meetings YouTube page. Avoid sharing any personal information that you would not like made public. Thank you.
Oh, that was it, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Adriana is having an issue with her camera. Mr. Anthony, can you turn on your camera, please?
I will turn on my camera soon, ladies. I'm just driving, so I'm
Work.
just joining virtually for this portion.
Understood.
I forgot what's going on with this load business. Let's check out here.
All right, let's get started. So, welcome guests and visitors. We will do introductions quickly here. I'll start with myself. Why not? I'm a little, Courtney and I were just talking, it's been since June since I've been sitting at this table, which is half a year.
Wow. Yeah.
And not because I'm a slacker either. No, July.
Yes, you were at the July meeting, yes.
Right, July meeting. We didn't have an August meeting. I missed September legitimately, football. Our October meeting was canceled and here we are in November. So, here we go. I'm Caroline Romano, the chair of the commission, and I'll move to my right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janine Finch, and I'm a commissioner. I'm Arbora Johnson, commissioner, I guess, starting my 7th year.
Marguerite Luter, I'm actually vice chair of the commission.
This is Courtney Palmer Sales. She's our
Sorry, Courtney Palmer, sales staff liaison to the commission.
Susan Strauss, commissioner.
Lisa Marcellus, Commissioner.
awesome. Let's try and get around online. I'll do the commissioners first. We'll go with Jax, who's driving. So we'll not make
Hello, I'm a commissioner.
Hi, good evening. Laurel Langhorne, Commissioner.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sasha Whitney. I'm also a commissioner.
I think we have some visitors and guests. Let's start with Bianca Bell.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bianca Bell. I'm new to OHR and hopefully we'll be joining Courtney in assisting in the future.
Fantastic. And as you're sizing up the different commissions that you visit, just make sure to put all the stars down next to our commission.
Got it.
I think ours is a little different.
The best, indeed.
I hear that we're a different flavor. I'll move on. Let's see, Crystal Lander.
Yes, I'm Crystal Lander and also visiting today and very excited to listen in.
Nice to see you. And Anthony.
Hello, my name is Anthony Roberto. I have a friend named Andrew who's on the Parks Commission, and then he recommended me to come into meetings and just visit and just see what's going on.
Awesome. And let's see, who did I miss? I missed Adriana.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes.
It worked. Hi, everybody. I am, I guess, a volunteer guest. I've been attending some meetings this year and attended one of the events over the summer. That was really fun with Gender. And yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. I think we shared our agenda out, but it's pretty straightforward tonight. We're gonna talk about one item holdover from the summer. And then for the most part, we're gonna look forward and talk a bit about our plans for December, January timeframe and into the spring. Again, apologies, it's been a minute since I've been sitting around this table. Marguerite's kept me up to speed. We have had a lot of work that's happened in the backgroround. The county fair being one of the main items where we put a lot of work and effort in. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But you guys on the virtual don't know that I shared around the table and it wasn't linked. My apologies, in the agenda that was shared. It's just a copy of the legislative proposals that we sent to the county board for consideration. thank you, Grace and Lisa and everyone else who did the heavy lift to get that ready for us to wrap up and send in, I think it was September-ish timeframe. If anybody's interested in seeing those, we can share that document. Now, but our top issues, and I won't get too much into the weeds about what the specific proposals were. We focus on gender pay equity, reproductive health care, providing access to rape kits in Arlington County, public safety were our top issues. And we come up with these topics and specific legislative concepts or ideas with feedback from the community. And one of the ways we do that is at the county fair when we talk to as many people as possible and find out what are the pressing issues for women, girls, families in Arlington, and how might those be addressed. So then we do some deep dives into pending legislation or failed legislation, proposed and not acted on legislation, other things that might have a vehicle or possibility of passage, and then we kind of pull all that together. I'm making it sound really easy and straightforward, but those who work on this package know that it's anything but that. So again, thank you for everyone who helped put that together. So I'm going to actually, I was going to hand it off to Ginger. She's not here. She took the lead on organizing us for the county fair this year. I enjoyed the fair. I know Arbor missed it, and it's like it's the missing puzzle piece when you get the whole thing put together and then one piece missing. It just doesn't feel right when you miss the fair. So we'll be happy to loop you back in next year. Be here
And
before we know it.
always, if your kid goes to a semester college, there's always move-in weekend. But
So one of the attachments was linked in the agenda was a summary of our outreach and efforts at the county fair. Some of the issues and topics that that we proposed to community members to sort of rank and choose using the poker chip poll. Those results are in here. And then on the last 2 pages is the summary of, on summary, it's a word for word actual, all the Post-it notes that people provided and submitted in response to our prompts. The most popular of which was name a woman. I think we said name a local woman, but that local somehow ended up being Earthside generally, alive or dead, who inspires you. And so you can see mothers and mother adjacent people seem to just take all the trophies. I'm not sure if my kid snuck in and put his posted it there to nominate me, but I'll take one of these as a film. So I provided this so everyone can look at it. And but I can throw away the Post-its as well. And then I haven't sent this summary to the board yet. I want you guys to have a look at it. You know, again, our legislative priorities highlighted these issues. So we have sort of communicated what we've gotten from the community feedback to the board. But typically I'll send an email to the board members with this summary. So I wanted you guys to have a chance to weigh in on it. Obviously, I'm not going to take your edits to the numbers because that's scientific poll data. But if there's anything y'all wanted to highlight, especially in terms of any direct experiences or feedback that you received while tabling, and I recognize that it has been 2 months, 3 months since that event, but let me just open it up. And while we're talking about the fair, if there's any other items, it's sort of a feedback loop that we want to flag now to think about for next year, things that went great, things that we can improve, or any ideas, we can document them now so that we don't forget them next year. Go ahead, Marguerite.
2 separate things. Number one, I recommend that we send the letter that you have prepared, because we did have a chance to read it, review it.
Okay.
I recommend that we send it to the county board, even though the topics may be the same. I think one thing that's different, I think 2 things that are different is, one, we have the numbers in there. So they get a representative feel for how many people said what. And number 2, the fact that we have some statements about those subjects of what in fact they could do. So I think those would be helpful. I don't necessarily think, I guess my mind could be changed, but I'm not sure I see value to adding the names of what women inspires you to the letter. I would just send the letter, keep it brief, let them mull over that. And if they ask us for any more information, we certainly have this, we could summarize and provide perhaps at a later date. So that's one thought. Switching gears, you asked about what comments in the September minutes, and I will apologize for us not having those ready for you to review tonight, especially since we canceled the October meeting. But in the September minutes, one thing we did have general agreement on is next year, everybody seemed to like this was not in the minutes, but everybody that was at the meeting seemed to like the fact that at the fair, people reacted positively to the idea that we had that piece of paper that said rape kits and had the info on it about what we meant by rape kits. And so when they were voting, they had something to refer to. Okay, so that having been said, which is not in the minutes, what is in the minutes is there was general agreement around the table that we should take that, flip it, and on the back have that in Spanish. At least one other foreign language. There were many foreign languages where, you know, daughter or son was translating for mom, but that's okay. We can't cover them all, but Spanish at least would cover a pretty good waterfront of people.
Dig it.
But he put Jack's.
And they drew a motorcycle. Yeah, I tried to capture what the emoji
Oh,
is in the
okay.
illustration we sent her.
Well, it's got to be somebody. Those are real well. If they put the motorcycle too.
You think, ha ha ha.
I really liked how the options were very specific to one, actual measures that this commission could tackle, but also specific to Arlington. I felt like the benefit was twofold to that because it also served as like an education opportunity for people that came up. I got a lot of people that were like, what? We don't have rape kits here? What? And, you know, and that was like an education opportunity. And one thing we discussed at our last meeting was about how some of the language might have been a little sensitive for kids that would come up and say, can I do this too? And they'd take some chips, or they'd be with their parents and their parents are trying to explain to them, and there's words like rape, abortion on there. And so that was sometimes a little tricky to navigate, but we also talked about how a lot of parents use that as like a learning opportunity and found ways kind of to explain that was appropriate for that age group. But yeah, overall, I really liked the question this year and the categories that we had, and they seemed to be received really well.
And I think there was an advantage to prefacing it with, what would you like to see the board do or have the board do? We put it in an actionable context. And I think that's how, to Lisa's point, I think that's how rape kits made it up to the number 2. I was surprised that public safety was number 1, but I think rape kits made it up to the top just because there were people who weren't even planning to participate in the survey. They were just dragging along with a friend or whatever until they heard, what do you mean we don't provide rape kits? And now all of a sudden there's a reason to participate because they were astonished that those are not available here.
About public safety, if I can jump in for a second, this is anecdotal at best, but I feel like that ended up being a category that, I don't want to say it was a throwaway vote, but I could tell occasionally that there was people who, I don't know if it was a political stance or whatever, but something about abortion or rape kits, them not wanting to put their weight behind that for some reason. And so it was sort of like public safety is a catch-all for I want to live in a safe place. Like it felt not like a throwaway, but I felt like I saw a lot. It wasn't like people were saying, yeah, wow, the streets are just really not well lit here and I don't feel safe on the sidewalks. I didn't get that vibe.
Although there were some people that gave specific examples of trails that I'm not a trail person, so I can't tell you which one because it didn't stick in my memory banks, but they were giving examples of trails where they thought there needed to be better lighting or what have you. So,
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously there was a lot of discussion of public safety overall nationally leading up to the election. And this was in August before the election. So, but yeah, it's surprising.
Just piggybacking off of what Lisa was mentioning about like how to engage with I don't spend a lot of time around kids. So sometimes with the like, I wasn't at the fair this year, but I remember the year before, I struggled with the conversation because I didn't know what language to use that was age appropriate. And so I'm wondering if maybe like another commission, like Children, Youth and Family or something, would be able to like partner with us. Maybe, you know, at a future meeting to like talk about, as we're thinking about what our questions are for the fair, how, you know, could we gain language from that? Or maybe you guys have experience. I just don't spend any time around kids. So I'm just like, I have no idea. I'm just like, let's,
No, I think that's a great idea. And I think Jax, not to embarrass you, but she seemed to have a really healthy grasp of how to use the right words with kids.
Yeah.
I felt comforted when I was tabling with her and a family came up. But yeah, I think it's.
And if I could add, so I work 3 shifts. In the context of the 3 shifts, I didn't have that many kids.
Yeah.
And of the kids that came, half of them, the whoever, parent, guardian, whatever, the older person used an educational opportunity, which I was impressed by, to explain it to them, which is, I think, how it should work. If your kid is at something open like a, you know, a county fair.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that we like cater to children, but just because it is a family friendly event, I just don't know, like, I would just be like, I was in that position and I was like, I have no idea what to say.
Well, what I was gonna say is for the other kids,
Yeah.
they were really coming for what kind of handouts and candy did we have, as opposed to getting involved in the seriousness of what was on the topic sheet. So I didn't walk away from my 3 shifts feeling like we needed to do anything to address kids specifically, because either the parent / guardian handled it, or the kid wasn't really that interested in it in the first place. They were really looking for what can they get from our table.
Yeah, but like you said, even just thinking ahead of time, we don't have to script it or whatever, but just spending 5 minutes thinking about ways to word abortion.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, totally legit.
Correct. Can I add? This is Adriana, because I was in, I think I volunteered for like from 9 to 1 on Saturday. And I talked to a lot of people. I think the chips like attracted like some kids. Most of the kids that I interacted with were like a little bit older, but there were a few little ones. And I agree that most of the time the parents, oh, I don't know what's happening over here. Sorry.
Sure.
Most of the time the kids or the parents took the opportunity to like educate the kids on the topic. It did not seem like an issue, but if that is a concern, I wonder if, because it is a child-friendly space, if maybe next year we do think about like a game or a survey for kids, right? Because I do think that it would be really cool to get feedback from youth on like what they think, you know, whether it's priorities or like anything related to like the status of women in Arlington. Like, I think it'd be really cool to maybe redirect them and let the adults sort of like focus on the other topics. So just offering that. I definitely had kids that came to the table. I was calling people in to participate, and the parents are like, can they participate? And I said yes. And again, I didn't sense any like issues. The parents did a wonderful job, and I hear the concern, and I wonder if like maybe we think about like redirecting the kids to like, you know, another survey or game or whatever it is. But that, you know, that can be for like a future planning, if that's something that people like.
Yeah.
Jax added a comment in the chat. She said, I run a nonprofit and host literacy emotional wellness events with my rabbits for children with cognitive developmental disabilities. So I work with a ton of kids.
Yeah, no wonder I felt so comfortable when Jax was something. All right, so we'll mark that down and make sure we think about it as we approach August next year.
Caroline, excuse me, I wanted to ask about public safety for a moment. Were bike incidents brought up at all?
Not in my 3 shifts.
Okay, okay.
I had a question too. I guess for both of those, the top two, the rape kits and for the public safety, I'm just wondering, do we have any type of crime statistics or victim reporting for rape kits or for public safety? I'm just wondering, thinking about like something actionable. If that was the number 1 and 2 concern, I'm just wondering like statistically how that looks for Arlington. And then I guess my other question was with the rape kits, do you all know of any other organizations in Arlington that do offer rape kits or support in that area? Or is it just through the police or the hospital?
So the first question you asked was about, do we have any stats and facts to support the issues? I pushed back specifically to the, subcommittee about public safety issues, because not to Monday morning quarterback it, but I was Monday morning quarterbacking it and wondering why the hell we had that on there as a top choice without providing any context. So I think, having something specific to reference with regard to public safety, saying something like, there's been an increase in pedestrian accidents lately, as you might have read in the news, or, something headline-ish that people are responding to. Otherwise, we didn't really have a lot to say about public safety generally. About rape kits, though, we have all kinds of stats and facts that I, outside of this commission, pull together for Take Back the Night every year. So that's something we can talk about separately. And the answer to your second question is, do other organizations offer rape kits in Arlington? The answer is no, they don't. You can receive them currently from a hospital emergency room, and locally that's Fairfax Hospital. There's no legal requirement that only an emergency room in Fairfax be the provider of that kit, but that is in fact how we do it here.
And in terms of the public safety piece, since that was the number 1 answer, Grace and I did a lot of research on that piece for the legislative priorities letter. And Arlington County did conduct a QSIS trail needs assessment and priority needs study within the past few years. And it did a lot of the heavy lifting it was hundreds of pages of really, really dark areas under bridges, lights that are damaged, lights that bulbs need to be changed. Looking at the pictures and reading through it was actually very scary, but it didn't necessarily relate that directly to crime and the statistics on that point. But, showing that poor lighting is an issue, at least on that particular trail, I think was supportive of that. But again, it didn't relate directly to crime statistics. And in that study that they did, they had already come up with actionable recommendations of where to prioritize funding to help fix that. But I'm not sure if they plan to do that on other trails around Arlington.
Thanks for doing all that research.
Yeah, thank you.
So perhaps your point is obviously valid, Caroline, that we didn't get a lot of specificity in the public safety edition. However, given that it came to the top, it may not hurt to use the, for example, of the Custis Trail study. Maybe they should be doing that on other trails.
I think that was one of our recommendations. I think conduct additional needs assessments on other trails, for example, 4 Mile Run, Blue Watt Junction, and WNOD. And I can't remember if we ended up keeping it in, but we did talk about how there have been a lot of headlines lately of attack on this trail, looking for suspects. So there's those anecdotal stories, but we weren't able to find X amount of crimes happened on trail, but
I wonder if it's correlated with the length or the amount of sunshine that we have seasonally. Because if you're a runner, you're either going in the morning at dark or going at night at dark, or a biker or whatever,
So the action item that we have is sending the summary to the county board for the information based on Marguerite's suggestion. And I agree, if somebody wants a copy of the posted translation, we can certainly make it available. But maybe not attach it to what we send to the board. And if we're doing that, then there's a sentence that needs to come out that starts with "see below." So I'll strike that and send this. I think, Margaret, when you and I talked, I was thinking that maybe Gender should send this, and she was the
Fair chair.
the fair chair, yeah.
I think perhaps it should have both of your names,
Oh, right, yeah.
because as chair of the commission, it really should come from you, rather than them asking questions about the validity of it.
Yeah, and so that, because Ginger's not here, what I might do is just reference her and go ahead and get this one off the.
Or just put her name under yours, county, our commission, whatever, commission tabling event chair or whatever.
The only thing I might suggest, and this is administrative, so feel free to ignore me, but maybe in the table where it shows the number of votes, just putting them in order of highest number of votes to lowest, just since most of them are in the 300s, just ranking them might be a
Great
little
suggestion.
helpful visually. And the last thing I'll say on county fair is I know we had talked about it leading up to the county fair. I'm not sure if we had just or like my shift had just missed it, but we had talked about having like little flyers or handouts like about the board and like upcoming events to look for.
The board being the commission.
Yeah, sorry. And so I didn't see those during my shift, but I'm happy to help put something together for next year, since a lot of people are like, I had no idea about you guys. Is awesome. Keep up the good work. Like, thank you so much. How do we get involved? And what are the events coming up? And so just having, especially during busy periods, just being able to pass out a half sheet of paper with that.
We had an action from our planning meeting to update our card that has all that information, and I don't remember, I'm not telling on anybody because I don't remember who volunteered to update that, but sorry.
It's okay. No, and I did, what I didn't do was actually have the rec card itself printed, because it was gonna, is that funny?
I'm sorry.
I updated the language and printed it on paper, so that's probably why it just got mixed in with the shuffle, because it wasn't an easy handout. Because by the time I got around to updating it and to have it printed in the short time that we needed, it was gonna cost double what we would, yeah.
But the paper worked well. I mean, I handed the paper out, but the rec card is something that is easier for people to just pick up, so.
So
Or a QR code.
come hell or high water, the rec card.
Just tape it on the table
next year.
And then, given our discussion we just had about what's in the legislative priorities relative to public safety and the Custis Trail assessment and a recommendation to do more, maybe just add after after public safety, after that sentence, in parenthesis, put see our legislative priorities, where we reference the Custis Trail assessment and a recommendation to do it in other trails as well. So linking our work if their memory banks don't automatically link up.
I may just refer back to the legislative proposals generally.
Yeah, because it's relevant to others.
Okay, considering those edits, I'm gonna send this off. Should we vote on it?
Yes.
Okay, y'all heard my edits.
I move that our esteemed chairwoman send it with her edits to our county board.
Seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Wonderful. All right. Moving us along to item number 2, not number 3. Tonight's agenda was supposed to be a briefing and discussion led by, I'm gonna tell on y'all, led by Arbor and Marguerite about our outreach for the coming year. We're gonna punt that to December meeting. Does that work for you guys?
Outreach with other commissions. Yeah.
Another organization?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's look forward to that. Our December meeting is on December 11th.
Can
I not believe a word I
bring
said.
up one other?
December 11th. Okay.
Can I bring up one other? We were supposed to have a discussion about the actions that Laurel took the time to document in the legislative priorities input she gave. So we should do that at some point. She put a lot of work into that. Laurel, do you know at this point if you will be at the December meeting?
Yeah, I'm planning to be there.
Okay. Because we can't have the discussion without her, given that we might need.
And did we share, so we didn't share that with the board yet.
No, that wasn't,
That was
some
just-
of her data was incorporated
Okay.
into our legislative
Okay.
priorities, but
Got
then
it.
we said as a commission, we should read the document. That was everybody's homework.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we all did. And that we would have a discussion about those places where she recommended the commission do something.
I have it printed out with my notes, Laurel.
Yeah, just I guess for background, this was a few months ago now, I had offered to do some research on executive orders because there were a ton coming out at the time and different legislative actions in Virginia that I thought, just to research and see if, and narrow down some that specifically would impact women and girls in Arlington. Not necessarily just county stuff, but just on a broader, I guess, scale. So I just did some research on that and put that together. And then out of those things, just created some actionable things that we can do as a commission, like partnering with other organizations or different things we can do for that. But I plan to be there in December.
Those are two rather heavy topics for December, which is usually a light meeting.
Yeah.
Especially if we're talking about having discussions and voting on items. So, I'm going to recommend that we punt at least one of them to our January planning meeting where we have more time to take up substantive topics. And if there are actions or recommendations that we do want to proceed with from Laurel's research, those are going to need write-ups in our issue. Okay, what do we call it?
Granted, they were not in that format, but they were pretty detailed in the document that she prepared, which is why I suggested that we should have we could have the discussion from that. The only thing it does not include from the format that you put together was which ones would she volunteer to lead if we said yes.
So what's y'all's sense of timing? Is this a December meeting or a January meeting thing?
Since December is light, it probably would be better for a planning meeting.
I don't think any of them were time sensitive enough that we have to do it in December.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so let's stick
And
that.
honestly, the outreach discussion from Barbara and I is, in true confessions, we just didn't get together. I don't know where the time goes.
I have done a little outreach, but that it hasn't amounted to
Right.
much beyond project piece, which can be folded into a lot of these discussions. So we should prioritize Laurel's issue in January.
Yeah. But an outreach could move to the planning meeting as well if you
Yeah.
wanted it to, since we're almost there. I'm open either way.
All right, can we put a pin in that? And let me think it over. I don't want either of them to get not a fair shake in terms of our discussion time and effort. And I feel like putting something on the December agenda, if we're gonna be light and celebratory, is not gonna give fair deference to the amount of work that probably needs to be focused for both of us. So stay tuned, Laurel, and then to the two of you, I'll reach out if something, let's assume that we can take up both in January.
Okay.
All right.
Courtney, was there something from the chat you were reading?
Yeah, it was for L'Oreal. Ms. Lopez was saying that she would love to support the outreach and also support reviewing L'Oreal's report. Thank you for working on that. And so L'Oreal responded.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, the next topic is, well, no, that's not true. Let's talk about the December meeting and what we want to do. In the past, we've done snacks, we've done potluck, we've done gift exchange, we've done donations to others. I am open to ideas.
Let's say we're doing, I think in the past, we've done like a donation to human services. That would be my preference given.
What does the donation to human services mean?
It's they collect gift cards or donations so they can give people.
Inside Arlington today had the program details, so
Yeah.
a link to the program details. And this year they are asking they will take gift cards, but that's their third choice. First choice, the first choice is really monetary
Money.
donations so that they can prioritize the families in need, and they give a description of who's in need. in case you're uncomfortable with how they would decide that. And they give you an online option. They also, which is really, I think it's the first time I've ever seen this, you can also just write a check and they give you the name and the address of the person to send it to at Human Service, whatever department it is that's coordinating this. And then the third option is if you want to do gift cards, you can still, but here are the preferred stores to do it from, and here are the stores not to do it from, because that they're really focusing on families that eat food and
Yeah.
substantive things. So there is that program. Last year, we did a little of both. We left everybody to their own discretion. If you wanted to participate in the holiday giving program in the county, plus at the meeting, everybody brought a snack. And so we did a little bit of both. And if you wanted to participate in the White Elephant Gift Exchange, you brought a gift and you participated. And then if not, you just kind of laughed at the others watching them.
No, I'm fine with any of the above, but I've just been trying to give more this season because it's so hard out there.
It is, although I would say like I'm doing it through like 3 other
Yeah.
organizations, so
Yeah.
I would probably not do it through the commission.
Yeah.
Just because time's out.
Well, last year worked well. Previous years, we had done it as a commission, but last year worked well because then people just went off and did it who wanted to do it, the online giving program. But some of us gave it to Courtney so that they would know that as a commission, we had responded, but I support all 3. I think we can handle all 3.
I guess I would encourage if we do the white elephant, don't go buy something, really just find something you have, re-gift something.
And it was fun last year. I think everybody, for the most part, followed those.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yes.
So
yeah, our Women Commission White Elephant rules are you find something from that you it's either given to you that you want to regift and you can't regift it to your family, or that you can present nicely.
Good at the regifting.
The regifting.
At that little section garage.
You have a garage. You're fancy. You didn't have a car.
They were required to have garages when they built the property.
all the more room for regifting.
I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't have a car.
The thing with regifting though is now the meetings are recorded, so if whoever gave you the.
Oh, yeah.
They know you gave it away.
I don't think there's a huge viewership that like it's not gonna go viral. I mean, you never know.
Just to let you know, we have Jan Murray that just joined. Oh,
Yeah.
she was just on. She had reached out, I think, this week about joining, but when she joins back in, I'll make sure to acknowledge her.
Jan Murray.
Yeah.
She was presented to us, right? Did she present to us a few months ago?
I don't think so.
Yes, okay.
She had called asking about information and wanting to join, so I sent her.
But she's not one of the applications we received.
Right.
Okay.
So for December meeting, Margaret, would you mind sending me the link and information? I'll reproduce it for our agenda for the Human Services Donation Opportunities.
Sure.
And we'll leave that up.
Do you get Inside Arlington?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, fine.
It's so much, it's got a lot of really good
Really
information.
good. Yeah.
I hadn't read mine yet, so.
Hi, Jen, you can unmute yourself.
I'll reproduce that for the agenda, but let's leave it there. I want people to feel comfortable donating their time or their spirits or their money or whatever, on their own, and using their own discretion. But we'll definitely, like I said, present it so that, that's front of mind. I like the idea of the regifting game. I think it's fun as well. And then let's all bring treats or something to share. And I'm gonna take the chair's privilege and say that I'm bringing drinks, so no one else can do that. You guys pick another category. I'll handle the drinks and like small plates and napkins.
I think I'll try to bring popcorn. That's my new thing. That's a good idea.
You want to be mainly snacks, not like,
Whatever, anything you want,
okay.
as long as it's not drinks, paper napkins, or plates.
Or popcorn.
You can never have too much.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Ms. Murray? You should be able to unmute.
So are we just doing celebratory stuff for December?
Yes, and
Okay.
the next topic too, I think we might have some.
Courtney, I can bring panettone. You guys know what that is?
Yes.
Can of tuna?
No.
Panettone. It's a traditional kind of Italian celebratory, just a holiday sharing dessert, if that makes sense.
Like a loaf.
Yeah.
It's breakfast.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing.
Why was that pausing? We're good? Our next topic, Janine just asked what else we're gonna talk about in December. I think the primary thing we'll talk about in December is preparing for our January session. But I do want to go ahead and try and at least hone in on potential dates. We'll typically have a strategy session offsite in January in lieu of having our meeting here for the 1 hour time frame. We usually book ourselves about 4 hours on a Saturday or Sunday in January to plan out our year, deep dive on any heavier, deeper topics that need discussion. For example, the action items presented in the document that Laurel produced. We'll spend some more time planning outreach activities, as well as maybe spend some time on women in vision planning. So if you have your calendars open, if you know of any for sure Saturdays or Sundays in January that you cannot make work, I'm gonna just go ahead and eliminate January 17th and 18th as it's part of a long weekend. I don't have any plans, but I reckon you guys might end up having some.
I am away the 24th and 20th, that following weekend.
Oh, bummer. I was gonna suggest that.
I
I
don't,
vote for the 31st.
we
I
don't
know
have
for
to
sure,
take the
but
17th and 18th off the table if folks do find themselves in town. I just figured that one was gonna be tough. We can also do this with a doodle poll to make it a little bit easier, but I would like to hone in, like I said, on some dates.
I vote for the 31st.
The 31st does not work.
Never mind.
And as staff, I'll probably have to be here to staff it, so I'm available on Sundays.
Sundays, not Saturdays.
You said Sunday, not Saturday?
Soccer. Yeah, so, yeah.
What about February 1st?
No. How about January 11th?
That works for me.
Yeah, I may not be here, but I don't have anything booked, so.
And January 4th?
I'm free on your day.
Okay, so while you're looking at your stuff, and we'll put this in a doodle so that we can actually weigh in, and I'll probably not send it, I mean, we can start talking about it, but I know people's schedules probably don't fully reveal themselves this far in advance, maybe. We will try and look at your calendars for January 11th and January 4th, as well. If we want to go to Arlington Mill, if we can check in advance, I do available, that may help nail it down. And at least as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if it's morning or afternoon, but if there's a preference.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
if it's on a Sunday, I think.
They don't open until like
Yeah,
11,
until like,
right?
yeah, so it'd have to be,
11 or 12 or whatever the opening. Maybe it's even 1.
it might even be, yeah.
I have to look for this. It's a visual, yeah. It's like,
Oh, yeah, it's 1.
it's one.
Yeah, assume like 1 to 4 those days.
Or we could say 1 to 5 because 1 to 4 is only 3 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so
January 4th would not be good if you think there will be stuff you want us to review ahead of time? Because we're coming out of the holidays. We'll be in a fog and trying to get back to what the normal schedule is. January 4th seems a little sudden. Just throwing that out there.
And then,
Well, then make ourselves available on these dates that we've all said we cannot possibly make happen.
I said the 11th.
Okay.
Yeah, the 11th is great.
All right. So at our December meeting, let's focus a bit on the January agenda and try and figure out exactly what we want to cover and who's going to cover it. So that people come prepared, to present information, and we can have action plans for the entire year coming out of January. That would be outstanding. And for sure, the top two issues will be outreach planning and the legislative topics that we're all presenting. Okay, and then teasing out some more dates. What if this is such a boring meeting? Sorry. We did want to just sort of gently start discussing when WOB might be.
Didn't she see me?
She's abstaining.
And just as a like, generally, are we aiming for March this year? Do we have some reason to think that we need to punt it out to May or June like we've done in other years? Do we have a sense of that?
I prefer March,
Yeah.
and that's my requirement.
I like March.
Yeah. If I'm too,
Just APS spring break.
thank you.
For those of us
To
that
celebrate.
it impacts is not till like April 1st. So
Okay,
March
that's good.
is free and clear.
When we punt it out to later, May, June, that sort of thing, is only because we couldn't get it together in time for March. Because we didn't start early enough to talk about getting the nominations out and all the rest of that. So there was no way we could pull it up.
Considering I have never participated in the nominations and like to keep that track record. How does the nomination, for those of you, like, do you feel like you guys have enough time?
To do it for March? Yeah. Well,
Right.
when are you gonna release the call?
January.
Yeah. We did it
Yeah,
last year.
we can make it work.
How you want it.
As long as you don't want to do it like do the event the first.
No, my preference is March 25th, which is the last Wednesday of March.
Yeah, that's good.
Wednesdays seem to work well for our board.
Do you happen to have the board's calendar?
No, they won't have it till January 1st.
And I do have some thoughts on things that might
Yes. Yes.
be free and
We
or
need, yes, thank
Yeah.
you, yeah. So yeah, my preference would be, March 25th.
Marking it down as the tentative date.
And can we like see if the board has anything they're planning? Like, just like email them and just be like, are you by any chance looking at March to
Well,
do something crazy?
And maybe,
We'll be honoring
maybe if we-
Ladner, bomb.
maybe if we phrase it, we are tentatively
Yeah,
trying to book early enough to have locations available, and March 25th came up. Maybe they'll take it into consideration when they're doing their planning if we give them a date now.
Right, you don't want to come.
Jan, are you able to hear us now? I see that you're unmuted. Maybe check the settings on your device.
Alex working.
I was saying, if when you follow up with the board to see if they know of anything coming up on their calendar, if you let them know that we were hoping to pick a tentative date, March 25th came up because we want time to explore venues and, phrase it nicely.
is that,
But maybe they'll take it into consideration when they're planning if they know we have a tentative date.
or if they can say, absolutely not, I mean, I know if they have like something to come up, they will do it, but Wednesdays generally seem to work for them. But yeah, if they have like that week, they're gonna go on a retreat with the school board.
Right.
We can pick another day.
Right.
I don't know. Crazy
That's
stuff
a
happens.
wonderful example.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'll prep in advance of the December meeting is for Caroline's individual brainstorm. I'll look back through some of the agendas that we've had from other January planning sessions. I don't want to put too much on us, but if there's any topics that we want to, like, if the rape kit issue is something that people want to talk about, I haven't dusted that kind of discussion presentation thing off in a while. We can talk more about that. If there's anything that we want to steer into more directly, like I said, I'll put together kind of a menu of thoughts for the January session. We meet in December if we can over chocolate and cookies and whatever. Agree to a substantive agenda, that would be super helpful, and that'll give us all plenty of time to prepare. Yes, great.
Sounds great. I love it.
That's it for our agenda items. Is there anything else, business wise that anyone wants to raise or bring up?
I'll just briefly mention.
Don't feel obligated to bring some up, just to focus on.
No, I won't. You know I do. I'll talk more about it in January, but the theme of the biannual Project Peace session, working session in person was they focused on immigration and how that intersects with domestic violence. And it was very interesting. There were a lot of partners talking about, from immigration attorneys to people talking about social services specific to communities within Arlington, and just how the two intersect. So anyway, I just thought that was obviously timely and interesting, and it relates to, Laurel's, some of the stuff you pulled out. So yeah.
When I was looking briefly at the sexual violence data for this past year, I couldn't help but think when there was a decrease in numbers, not to be too doom and gloom about it, but sexual violence is not the type of crime that you typically see a decrease in. There's really not a lot that any community can do to decrease those numbers.
Right.
It really is,
Reported.
well, it really, I mean, to reduce sexual violence, you really have to change the whole culture and the way that people interact with one another and how women are treated generally. It's hard to chip away at those numbers and bring that down. Where you do see the fluctuations in reporting, I couldn't help but think that if I saw a dip in one category, that it probably wasn't something that anyone should be proud of. In fact, it probably reveals more that cases are going unreported because either the victim is afraid of ramifications, but as well, it gives them a second thought too about reporting their assailant if they may have immigration considerations. Yeah. So
Yeah, that was a lot of what it was about, and also just how the social services resources are super overstaffed right now. I mean, overtaxed, they're understaffed and overtaxed. That's what I should be saying. But yeah, I can talk more about that. And the other thing that I've been meaning to report back to this group, I think Marguerite will find this of interest, along the veins of partnerships, is there's this woman, Cindy, who runs the Women's Business Center of Northern Virginia. That's this tiny little outpost. She recently said she's been doing a lot of helping women set up in-home daycare centers and then training them on this daycare center, providing training and resources, which is a really great intersection of the need for childcare, but also business training. And so I would like to, at some point, maybe work with her, or so I've been meaning to talk, but she keeps not responding. So next time I see her. But I thought that was really interesting that because and many of those are also immigrants who are providing, the women who provide that. So.
Barbara, did they mention at the Project Peace meeting that a lot of women were afraid to go to shelters because of ICE? So they had the abuse.
Well, it's like Caroline said, it's super complicated, right? If you came to this country to avoid sexual persecution, it's a potentially a path to legal status, but there's a lot of fear around everything related to, you know, going to the police.
Yes.
There is not enough immigration attorneys, and yes, there is the issue of just, I mean, a friend of mine said, we're all just huddling in our homes. We're just like staying behind closed doors. So, yeah.
This is an ignorant question of me to ask, but is there any opportunities for like anonymous, like sexual assault reporting in the county? Where, you know, obviously for like statistic purposes, but people wouldn't feel at risk of, you know, immigration or possible repercussions. I only ask because at my college, we had anonymous essay reporting where like a licensed professional would sit down with the person, or it would be done online where you can like report the details of what happened to you, but your name wouldn't be tied to the report.
Rape kits can be submitted anonymously. That's always an option. But I think getting to it's one thing to be a college and be anonymous reporting it. It's another thing to try and claim anonymity if you're an immigrant without documentation or otherwise fearful of some of your family members getting involved. So even presenting yourself without a name or submitting to a rape kit in a hospital setting, there is identification that's going to be associated with you, whether you like it or not. So I think probably what's happening is most people are just opting out of any sort of reporting. I don't know that in the criminal justice system, anonymity is a real thing.
Even if it's not like rape kits, if you were like touched on a bus or something, is the only route to go through, like the police file a report with your name.
You could not file. What you mean?
Like, is there a report to follow like non-rape assaults anonymously?
I think there's a link, I haven't ever tried it, on the Arlington County Police website where you can report crime. But I don't know what happens if you push that
I
button.
don't know what happens with that. I mean, I've done it for like a hit and run, and I'll tell you, nothing happened. I got a letter saying, if you pay $10, you can get a copy of your report. I'm like, I wrote that report. I kind of think the answer is no, but I mean, in terms of like in the context you're talking about college, but you know, for victims of domestic violence, they certainly are able to seek shelter without, you know, giving papers or anything. I mean, Arlington County is not asking for paperwork, so there is a level of anonymity, but I don't know that we're just trying to get the statistics in general, let alone like anonymous.
And I think the difficulty for the police is, what would you have them do if you are going to be anonymous and they need more information and they can't get it? If I was experiencing immigration concerns personally, I would say if I've got to be anonymous, it's like, why would I report? Because what would I have them do? They can't do anything for me.
Yeah, I just figured even if it was like an automated email or something, like you've submitted your report, here's a list of resources that you can turn to that can maybe help you.
I mean, I'll give you this, Caroline did one. This is from Project Peace, so that's specific to, I mean, it includes sexual assault and sexual violence, but it's also if you're facing abuse within the home and there is like you can have your mail confidentially forwarded, and I mean there are a lot of resources. It's just almost like which one is the right resource?
Right. And they have access to that online, don't they?
Yeah, that's all online.
Yeah. To that brochure, I mean.
Yep. At least the information.
Yeah, well, yeah, sorry.
Caroline, do you know, is the county up to date on examining the rape kits?
Yeah, there's not a backlog in Virginia as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Oh, I looked it up this summer. Somebody actually asked
Yeah,
that. Yeah. there is
The
a
woman at the fair, we were tabling together when she
There is that?
she was so, no,
There
she
is
was
not.
right.
she was so pleasantly surprised.
We had to shoot that and then we had to end the backlog, but that was 10 years ago.
Time flies.
All right. Speaking of time, it's 8:05. If there's nothing else for the good of the order, I will call us to close.
Any questions about the white elephant gift exchange?
No, but sorry, one more thing. Can we, if you're able, and willing, maybe let's dress festive, not like party clothes, but you know, ugly sweater, holiday hat, I don't know, and maybe we can take a picture.
Okay, that's the hardest part of all.
Yes, yes,
You can give you a Rudolph nose.
We can hide behind the wrapped presents.
So there you go.
yeah, right.
Stick the bow.
We don't have enough pictures of us. Most Janine shows us all without the camera. And husband and. All right.
Took that picture of us doing the pledge.
There's a message in the chat, Anthony, but as a first-time attendee, this was a very informative meeting. I think it's interesting covering various topics about statistics in Arlington County, Virginia. And I believe we have Miss Jan, who is also joining via phone, and she'll be able to unmute if she wants to say hi. Yeah. Thank you for your patience.
Anthony, thank you for that comment. And I wasn't joking when I apologized for having such a boring meeting. I just felt very like, let's get our house in order with some planning dates and stuff. I do think one of the great things about this commission is that we can steer our energies into the issues and topics of the day. Since I've been around, maybe because I've been around, but also I think it's important. Sexual violence and issues around rape kits have seemed to stay on the table and been discussed over and over again. The issues around sexual violence in the county, I think, have changed over time. Like we were saying, for a while, there was a lot of focus on the backlog of rape kits across the country, but also in Virginia. When the issue first came up 20-some years ago when I started, and Sam Sewell was here, there had been some attacks locally on trail. That was women who were running and exercising. So there was some like real community fear around that. So the issue stayed on the table, but it seems like we've come at it and worked on it from a number of different angles. And even if we haven't, I think, prescribed real action to solving any of the problems, I think keeping it a focused topic, both domestic and sexual violence, has served the community well, if nothing else, to make sure it's front of mind for the board. So thank you for recognizing that. And I hope that if you attend future meetings, we will have more fruitful conversations about those topics. I'm just glad to be back. Like I said, it's been since July. You fools have not seen.
Football moment.
Football moment.
I know.
I know. All right. So thank you guys for joining. We will reconvene on
You in a month.
Yeah, December 11th.
Yeah. Caroline, how often do